Welcome to another episode of the Heel Heat. This is now your Royal Rumble reactions. And let's go. Start with the first match. The starter, Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns lost by being DQ'd late leave, and Seth Rollins is the winner. But Roman is still the champion. What are you guys' thoughts on this fight? Jay?
I thought it was fantastic storytelling. Honestly, I thought I'd be more upset about it, but between the way Roman grabbed him and did the guillotine, the way he usually, considering the way they told the story in this match of this was the first time Roman really looked vulnerable and Seth really had him on the ropes from a mental standpoint. Seth coming out with the Shield gear and from the crowd and everything, and hitting him with the Shield bomb and all that other, all of that nostalgia was it was excellent ring psychology. But then for Roman to tap back into that beast mode that he has, or that God mode as he calls it, and just kind of shed that final Shield good guy crap that he's been holding on to, and finally just really lean into that tribal chief thing where it's it doesn't matter what the result is, as long as I'm champion, I don't care. I don't need my cousins. I don't need you. I don't need Mox. I don't need anybody. As long as I'm up top, I don't care. And for him to just literally take the DQ, but then on top of taking the DQ, pay off the moment when Seth turned on the Shield by reenacting it, but getting his chair shot back in essence, and finally putting an end to really that chapter for him, where it's listen, we're never going to be friends. I'm never going to forgive you. We're never going to be those people again. And I'm going to make sure of it, was just chef's kiss. Chef's kiss.
Benny?
Match was fantastic. Honestly, unfortunately, probably match of the night as the opener. So
Absolutely.
It's just it's kind of the rest of the event. It was a downer, just from that point on. So it's just what else are you looking forward to after that?
Yeah.
Especially, mind you, I'm basically going at that with complete hindsight of the rest of the event, because at that point, nobody knew that the rest of the event was gonna fall off the way that it did. But that match was amazing.
I mean,
you had an idea, but you didn't know.
No.
Oh, we'll get to that soon.
But like I said, the things that Seth was doing, I remember when The Fiend first debuted, and one of the biggest things that we were all talking about was his character work while he was in the ring. This was that level for me of mind games, of just sheer mind fuckery, if you want to call it that Seth was pulling off. The fact that after he took the spear, he's laughing and reaching his fist out, saying "I love you, brother," to him. That was amazing, and that's one of the best moments of the last 6 months that I have seen as far as wrestling goes. I'm not mad at the ending of it. What it does is it puts it still gives credence to the fact that Roman has not beaten Seth, and it keeps the belt on Roman and anything, and it set up everything going forward with the story with him and Brock. So the question is, what are they going to do with Seth Rollins going from here? We don't know.
Here's my thing. This was like I saw highlights from Friday Night SmackDown and the reference to the Joker suit, and it continued. And I'm thinking he's pulling that as he's using it now, because the way he's moving, the way he's smiling, the way he's reacting to a lot, it reminds you of the Joker, and I'm okay with it. You know what I'm saying? Do what you will, because I like this Seth Rollins right now. It's just The only thing is you kind of saw it already if you were watching Impact years ago with the Sting, when he went crazy, and how he changed his paint and everything. He went like the whole Joker way, everything too. But I want to see where Seth goes with this, see what happens, and how he does it his own way. So far, so good. I like it. I just thought one of the biggest botches of the night was when the referee was lifting his hand and he won, and he literally puts his hand on the rope. I'm like, you really make it that obvious? I'm like, can you make it any more obvious? Why don't you just put his hand literally on the rope while you're at it? I was just like, the psychology on this one, this is why I love watching wrestling, because of this. The whole you never beat me, and the whole how the ref is like, let go, let him go, and he's like yelling, no, he won't let go, he won't let it go, so I won't let go. I'm like, golly, he's just holding and pulling, tugging, like, damn, bro, you really trying to choke this man out? And then he came back with the chair shots, like hit him hard, broke the chair and everything. Like it leaves that door open and lets you know there are still wounds in there, even though it's been years. It's still there. It's not gonna go away. And the fact that they're literally naming John Moxley, not Dean Ambrose. They're literally saying John Moxley is like something else.
Well, we need to hold on that for a second, because I don't know whether this was a mistake on Cole's part last night, but Cole did say Ambrose at one point. So I don't know if that was him, having a brain fart moment because everybody else was calling him Mox, or if Vince was in his ear like, stop.
Well, again, Pat kept going with the Mox, and Pat wasn't recommended because he did it again last night.
That's Pat McAfee. Pat don't give a fuck.
But again, if anyone's gonna get yelled at, it's gonna be Pat. So if Pat's continuing to do it, I think it might just be that Cole had a brain fart.
Yeah, or he's just used to it, or he's trying to play good soldier and just says, "I'll just sit Dean Ambrose. I don't want to take a chance. I don't want to get in trouble." And you know what? It is what it is, bro. You gotta deal with the man in your ear for like 3-4 hours. The last thing you want is to have him yelling at you for that long. So, but I like where this is going. It leaves the door open where it's not resolved. He still hasn't beaten Rollins. They still have their issues there. So if this could still continue down the line, it's a long story play, and I'm fine with it. This is what fans want, and we're okay with it. When it's obvious, not when like you do it, you let it go, and you forget it.
And you're like, oh yeah, by the way, remember this part? And it's like, no. You should have paid this off 6 months ago. This was like the perfect time to do it because they're far enough removed from the Shield and very much into different characters and different places in their lives that you can bring it up, and Rollins can just be like, you still never beat me. You know that I made you, and if it wasn't for me doing that and being selfish, you wouldn't be who you are. And Roman's just like, I feel like Roman had that moment where it's like, I know he's right, but fuck this guy. Like that is very much that moment. It's like, I know he's right, but fuck this guy.
Yeah. So it was probably one of the best, if not the best match of the night.
It was undoubtedly the best match. Like it's not close.
Yeah, I mean,
it literally torpedoed from this point on.
Yeah, I'll say why later on. What I thought was like close to it and why. But let's continue to Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey. Oh no, wait, that's the women's. The women's Royal Rumble. Sorry, I'm reading the results. The women's Royal Rumble. We were worried about this because it was a clusterfuck because they were like, do we have enough women? Like, where do we find them?
They tapped every line that they could. They called everybody who would pick up. They when I'm telling you, I feel like Vince had to swallow his pride, talk to Stephanie, and was like, I need you to call in favors. Mm-hmm. I need you to call in every favor that you have. Every favor that you think you have, make whatever deal you need to make. which is how I think the Mickey James thing happened.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever deals you need to make this Royal Rumble happen, do it. Don't ask me, just do it. That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
Because mind you, this was like the first year there was no Casey Catanzaro, so there was no Kofi spot. They tried to do a Kofi spot.
There was no NXT.
Yeah, there was no NXT at all.
I was going to say that. There was none. The rumor was Raquel was supposed to be there.
Which again makes perfect sense because they're trying to disassociate the idea that NXT talent or the talent coming from NXT is more popular than the talent on the main roster. Even though literally, because think about it, if Raquel would have showed up or if Io would have showed up, there probably would have been a bigger pop than for any of the current women right now.
Oh, I think that's who else was on standby. I think it was Io. Which
is like, why are we bringing in Cameron or Michelle McCool when you have Io Shirai sitting there? Like, there's certain people you just didn't need to call. Even the Ivory spot was funny.
It was, I like it.
But I would have rather there been an Io spot.
All right, question. Whose ring gear was better? Whose ring gear did you pop for the most? Sasha Banks' Sailor Moon or Zelina Vega's Madra? Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Go ahead, Benny.
I'm gonna say Sasha because I actually knew what that was. Right off the top of my head, I did not think Madara Uchiha until she posted the thing on Instagram. I'm like, because I saw her coming out with like what looked like that looks like samurai gear. What is she doing? Mm-hmm. I knew what the Sailor Moon thing was. Mm-hmm. It's just for whatever reason, the Madara didn't pop in my head at the time. So I gotta say that it's Sasha's.
Yeah, I popped for the Madara Uchiha because she had the fan. I saw the fan, and that's the problem. She didn't hold on to the fan too long, you know, and she took the ring gear off or the gear off quickly. I'm guessing because it was heavy.
But she just didn't have time. You had to get down the ring. She didn't have time for the entrance.
That too, and it's a long ass walk or run as well.
I'm gonna be real with you. I'm not a deep cut Naruto fan. Mm-hmm. So I didn't know. I knew it was something anime related. Mm-hmm. I knew that it had something to do, but it completely went over my head. Mm-hmm. When I saw Sasha's, I knew immediately. I was like, no, she didn't. And everyone was like, oh. And everyone was like, oh, maybe it's something else. I was like, everyone else was like, no, it's not Sailor Moon. I'm like, bro, look at her hair.
It was Sailor Moon. I said it was Sailor Moon.
I was like, she came out with the Sailor Moon deep cut. My 90s heart was just like, bro, she went there.
Yeah.
Like, she went full, like this wasn't a hint. This wasn't a possible, like, oh, she's throwing shit. She went full blown Sailor Moon. And I'm like, now I want you to win the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, and when she got on the rope, she's like on the ring.
Yeah, she
the thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I was like, oh.
Yeah, her husband did a really good job with that outfit.
Yeah, no, he outdid himself with that one.
The details was ridiculous.
You know, since we don't have Johnny Gargano to pop for anymore in terms of his gear, all we have left is Sasha.
Yeah, Sasha and Zelina Vega.
Yeah, which is terrible. Terrible. Yeah.
And the moment I hated the most was when what's her name? Sarah Logan came in. They messed it up. Sarah Logan came in and Liv is there, and you have that moment. They haven't seen each other for so long. They're about to hug, and then you mess it up with the freaking twins.
Like, and I think they were trying to give them heat, but it was like the moment was it went too fast.
Yeah. No, you needed to wait, let them hug it out or do something, and then do what you got to do to get them heat. But the thing is, Pete, we wanted to see that reunion for so long. You know, give us that reunion. No, you give us a reunion, but outside the ring. Like, nobody wants that. We can't see that. We can't see that. Then the other one that was really good, I don't know how many people like really bit into that, was Nikki Ash like destroying Molly Holly.
That was hilarious. That was funny.
That was great. She's like, I'm the real superhero here. I was like, golly.
But see, again, I can't get with this character. Like, I've tried to get with Nikki Ash. I just can't do it. Because again, there's those campy classic superheroes, and I get it, but with the way superheroes have kind of been reshaped and redefined, like the classic campy crap just doesn't go over for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like like if she's gonna descend into being a full-blown super villain, then I'm all for it. But if you're gonna if you're gonna try to do the whole invincible shit where you're still a superhero and you're doing everything for the greater good, but you're beating up all the quote unquote good people, you're not selling it well. Cause I'm just like, like every time I hear her music, I'm like, oh, okay. Like I'm just disappointed. I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed.
Oh man. Another one that was good was the Ivory coming in with their right defensive gimmick.
I'm sorry, Jay sound like a parent right now.
I'm not mad. That's really how I felt with this show. I was like, I'm not even mad anymore. I'm just like, this would have been dope. Tegan Knox would have been dope. Tony Storm would have been dope. Shotzi was fine, but like Shotzi without the Shotzi instead of Shotzi Blackheart with the tank was disappointing. Because it's like
used it because have that whole rant to like drive down it.
Not even that. It feels like they're trying to sexualize her character, and it's just boring. Like she had the potential to be Paige, and they're just not, dude. Like they've completely
they don't know what to do. Instead of letting them be, they're trying to repackage them to what they want them. Like no, they're popular with the fans this way. Leave them this way.
She was a kind of like really cool hybrid of like Paige, AJ Lee, and Lita when she first happened, but they over sexualized her, and I'm just like, and then they took the name away, and the Blackheart part was actually what was really cool about it. And it's just, no, I don't care. Like, no, I don't care.
Yeah.
But I mean, the Ronda thing, the one thing that got me is my brother looked at me and was like, she doesn't have to kill anymore. I was like, she dropped Rowdy.
No, you got to remember, she's. I think she just like what? She's a couple months from having the baby.
She's 2 months postpartum. I know.
Yeah,
but I'm talking about in the gear, like instead of keeping with Rowdy's gear.
No, I think the way I'm looking at it is I don't think she's physically in shape yet. Because if you look at a lot of the stuff she was doing, it wasn't what she normally did. She kept doing a lot of those
gonna be real. Granted, like I can never speak for having a child and then turning around doing something athletic, but she looked a little slow.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I don't think she was ready. Yeah.
But again, that doesn't change her gear. She could have worn what she wore, but had some kind of shade of Rowdy, and she didn't. That's what I'm saying. She didn't have anything that looked any sort of Piper's Pick, anything.
Yeah.
There was nothing about him. That's what I'm like. Oh, she must be dropping the part of it that's like a
the jacket. The jacket was him.
So they didn't have the white shirt and all that other stuff is what Jay's talking about.
Yeah.
They completely changed her gear was what I'm saying. And I was just like, oh, okay. So I guess we're dropping the whole.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think it was like a last minute thing. I'm trying to figure things out. And I don't think she's like the gear she has. I don't think she fit in it. Maybe she wasn't ready for that. Because I think because of the baby, I think she's lactating all that stuff. So I don't think that top's gonna fit her like it used to. So
I didn't even care about the top. I actually liked the new gear. I'm just saying I thought that she would come out with like the kilt and then just ripped it off and kept it pushing.
Yeah, I know. I just
that's all I'm saying.
Ready. I just don't think that gear was ready. I think it was like a last minute thing, and I hate that because of the fact if that was last minute thing, so that means that you got her last minute. So because you got her last minute, you made her the winner. So who was actually going to win the event?
I don't think they ever had a winner. I think that they wanted her back. She said she wanted to come back by the Rumble. Mm-hmm. She even said, she's like, I looked at it, the certain way I looked at it is I could be back by the Rumble. Mm-hmm. So that's what I wanted to do. And they were like, all right, if you're back by the Rumble, then you're definitely going to win because we want you at Mania. Mm-hmm. If you're not, we'll figure it out. So it's one of those, like, they would have decided the day of and then found some way to have her come in later and still get the title match.
Yeah, the other one that I like, the storyline they put in there, was a storyline to continue for Naomi and Sonya Deville with Cameron.
I'm so sick of this with them. It's like the biggest tease where I'm like, they don't have good chemistry together. It's like their matches aren't even entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like where it was like Becky and Bayley, where like they can go in and they can have a hell of a match. And it's like, oh, okay. Like we can do this match in the middle of nowhere, and it's just like, okay, there's great chemistry. Okay, let's build a rivalry out of this. It's like you waited a month and a half before they could even do it. Sonya Deville doesn't even wrestle the same way she used to. Her gear's dope, very, very dominatrix. Like I'm into it. I'm digging it. Naomi came back from injury in shape, really athletic, but it just doesn't feel like they're allowing either of them to wrestle, and they're having them wrestle in a way that limits a lot of what they can actually do. So it's just I'm not into this feud at all. I was hoping it ended when they had the match on SmackDown, but guess not.
I don't know when it's gonna end, to be honest.
Well, considering the fact that this feud has technically been going on since September, I don't think it's going to end anytime soon.
Yeah. But
you know what else was a good moment?
What's that?
When Shayna came in and they panned to Ronda, and Ronda looked up and smirked, was like, "Oh, fucking let's go!" And I'm like, and then it didn't click for me that because Ronda was coming back, this would be the first time Ronda and Shayna would really be able to interact.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he came out and they looked at each other, it clicked, and I was just like, "Oh shit, the 4 horsewomen thing was still a thing." Like it was still a thing, and I'm like, "Oh, I completely forgot about this." So like, it was a nice little moment.
Yeah, I just wish they built more on it. It left me wanting more.
They did something together instead of it just like, oh, we're gonna.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like they didn't do anything with it. I'm like, oh, that was a moment that you guys could have definitely used, especially because it's like you could have done, like you could have had Shayna have fucking Charlotte in an ankle lock, and then you could have had Ronda have her in a crossface, and then like she's trying to reach for everything, and like all the women just kind of stand up, back off, and just kind of let it happen. Where it's like literally the women's division giving a fuck you to Charlotte.
Mm-hmm.
But then it pushes Charlotte's character more because she's like, even when I was getting jumped, no one helped me, no one cared. So that's why I'm the queen, that because I'm alone, I'm this, and everyone wants to come after me. And it would have pushed Charlotte's character and Charlotte's narrative a lot further. Where even if you don't have plans for her beef was with the entire women's division, not just one individual. Mm-hmm. So you could have done it that way, which to me would have not only made more sense, but it would have kind of given you an out for like, if Charlotte's like, oh, why the fuck did you do that? It's like, oh, it's a spot. But then you didn't necessarily have to tell Charlotte it was a spot, if you get what I'm saying. It's like, oh, you want to sit up there and do this bullshit with Andrade? I got you. Yo, Ronda, Shayna, fuck this bitch up.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like you see a lot of the damage that the roster cuts did in this match. You actually see them both, and we'll talk about it later. But you see it more deeply in the women's than anything. Like if you look like Summer Rae, not for nothing, she did nothing. There was no need. And the fact they called her a legend, I'm like, why? She didn't win a title. She wasn't. It's sad to say. I don't want to be sound like an asshole, but she wasn't really relevant.
Summer Rae.
I remember her more for being on Divas and being Fandango's partner ballet.
But that's the thing. You got to look at, like, if you look at people like Santino Marella, right? They call Santino Marella a legend. He didn't do shit. He just had a really good character. The reason why they reached out to Summer Rae is because Summer Rae has a huge social media following. Like, it's massive. So, like, I'm personally a fan of Summer Rae. Well, I'm a fan of Danielle Monet, not really Summer Rae particularly, but I do think that she deserved a lot more respect than what she got, but they just didn't have her doing much. So it's kind of hard to justify her being in the Rumble, if that makes sense. That was my biggest thing is if you're going to put these people in a Rumble, actually have a plan. Don't just do it where like, oh, remember when her and Naomi had some kind of feud? I'm just going to give her a Thesz press and start punching her. And I'm like, this is reminding me everything I hated about 2000s women's wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And like, at least give me a Hurricane Rana, give me a bicycle kick, give me a spinning back kick, which she did eventually. Give me like a leg drop or an elbow drop or a knee drop, something. Just don't give me a damn Thesz press. Or like somebody paint head against that. Like, don't give me that classic women's wrestling bullshit.
Yeah. So now the fact is, it's going to be Ronda and Charlotte Flair at Mania.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing now.
That's what the report is, but
Things
WWE is.
Well, because what I saw was too is that even though Bianca didn't win the Rumble, she's still in there to have her Mania match for the title with Becky, which makes no sense because for me, the way I would have booked it was, hey, I love Bianca. We all love Bianca here, but who would you rather see on the face, Charlotte or Becky?
You know what? I'll put it to you this way. I get the whole Ronda Becky thing because I was telling my cousin, I'm like, you get the whole like they've never really had that one-on-one because it's always something. It's always something. The reason why they've never been able to go really toe to toe. But I do think that Charlotte is better equipped to hold a match with a Ronda who may not necessarily be ready. So I think Charlotte's a better lead dance partner than Becky is. Becky does a lot better when she is not leading the match, but kind of doing the selling and the character work and all this other stuff, and not having to worry about the technical ebbs and flows of the match. To me, anyway. And then two, with the way that Bianca got, the way they did Bianca, I do understand in terms of long-term booking, being like, okay, now you get Bianca to actually have a match with Becky, and then Becky puts her over. The problem I'm going to have is if Becky doesn't put her over. Because it's easy enough because that's the thing. It's like they're having an elimination chamber in Jeddah, but are you going to have a women's elimination chamber now? Like, are you going to Saudi Arabia and allow your women to wrestle in Saudi Arabia?
And this is why they need a all-women's pay-per-view. They can't do it now because they don't have the roster to do it.
Exactly.
You could technically pull it off, especially considering the fact that the Elimination Chamber, or rather the Elimination Chamber would be for both of the Raw titles in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
You can kind of sort of, if you want to go back to Hell in a Cell like they did it, they sat up there and they had a Hell in a Cell match on like completely separate days because of the fact that Fox wanted one, and then USA was just like, yo, what the hell is going on? Give us one. And you ended up with a Hell in a Cell match on Raw and on SmackDown, aside from the event itself. So you could technically be like, at the same time, all right, we're not going to do this Elimination Chamber match here out there in Saudi Arabia. We're going to do it on Raw.
Well, here's my thing. If you do it that way, that I would be the first person to say that I think the Elimination Chamber should be for the number one contendership, not for the title.
Yeah, that's what I'm pretty much saying. It would be setting up whoever's going for the Raw title.
Okay. See, I can live with that. That actually makes sense to me because not only do you give Raw a marquee match, you give people a reason to watch Raw. You also give these women a chance to really do something with this, even though I know they're not going to really give them rope to do something with this. But then it just creates the conundrum of like, what 6 women are you really going to grab from Raw to do it?
You got, I'm just thinking off of the top of my head. Bianca, of course.
You got Bianca Liv.
You got Liv, who's going to be in there.
Dewdrop.
Chances are I'm not calling her that.
Piper Nevin.
Thank you. Alexa's up in the air because you don't know what's
Very
going
much
on with her right now.
Yeah.
Like they're doing the counseling, and in the counseling she still has powers. So it's just like, where are you going with this? I know you had said before they had copywritten the goddess again, but what exactly are they doing with it? There's no way to know which way they're going to go. So at this point, I wouldn't count on her for that match because, like I said, her character.
That match is legitimately in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So,
I wouldn't count on having her in that. But that's on top of it. Then you'd have to sit up here and throw in a Rhea Ripley, a Nikki ASH.
What show is Rhea on?
She's on Raw.
She's on Raw, right? So you got Bianca and her on Raw.
Mm-hmm.
You got Nikki. So that's.
And then you got Carmella and Zelina Vega if you want to use one of them. It's nasty, and I mean that by saying it's not. The competitive balance is like way tipped to one side of this.
The only way that I can make this something is if this is the point where you have to debut Raquel Gonzalez, because Raquel Gonzalez being added to that match, now the match is interesting. At least from a booking perspective, it's interesting because you can go. You have the powerhouse in Bianca. You have the plucky upstart. You have what, 3 powerhouses by my count.
You could have kept Alicia Fox at home.
Yeah, that didn't need to happen. That definitely could have been a Raquel or an Io. But let's see. You got.
And let me correct it. Io was not there. The ones that were in waiting were Oksana, Caitlyn, and Jillian Hall. Only those 3. I thought there was another one.
The only one I really cared about was Caitlyn.
That's right. Yeah. They because I remember Liv put something up with Jillian Hall on Instagram.
Mm-hmm. Only one I care about is Caitlyn, honestly.
Yeah.
So you would have the situation where you have Bianca, you have Piper, you have Raquel. That's you got those 3 powerhouses. You have Liv, who's probably the fan favorite in that situation. And then you have Nikki ASH. Well, and then you have Rhea and Nikki ASH. So you have 4 powerhouses, which already kind of looks weird because now it's like, now there's a power balance. There's a power imbalance. Luckily, because it's an elimination chamber, you can get away with it where it's not like because you can literally have the powerhouses just kill each other, and you can have Liv and Nikki just doing crazy spots. And then you can kind of just have, this person gets eliminated, this person gets eliminated, this person gets eliminated, and call it a day. So, I mean, like, it's like you said, if they do it on Raw, it's doable. It's definitely doable. But it just depends on what you want to book for Becky, and if you want Becky to drop the title or not. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, it's be interesting where they're going to go with this one, because on paper and storyline, like I was saying, Ronda and Becky never finished their one-off. Ronda already had her one-off with Charlotte.
Yeah.
Who wants to see it again? But again, the princess gets everything.
True, but also you have to look at it from the standpoint that if you have a wrestler there that can lead a match in a way that she doesn't need to be with someone who's overtly technical, then Charlotte is probably the better choice.
The problem with Charlotte is Charlotte don't sell.
It's not about selling.
In this situation, I don't think that's bad.
Exactly.
I don't think that's a bad thing because of the fact that you can legitimately have the 2 of them beat the ever-loving hell out of each other and just make it look like, because that, if you remember correctly, that Survivor Series match was wild. between the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
So like at this point, I'm gonna be real. Like the two of them being put together, that's not necessarily that much of a bad thing, especially because considering people that aren't even involved in it. Because if you were to put her up against Becky Lynch, then it's just like, all right, why the hell did we spend the entire last half a year screwing Bianca Belair over?
Exactly.
Because
Are you going to sit up here and throw her and Liv Morgan into some random tag team
no, because if your skin color
end
is
up
like
against
that, like the man behind me?
No, what? Listen to what I'm saying real quick though, because somebody else brought this mess up. Are you going to put them in some random tag team to have them lose to the Bella Twins in some random tag team title match? Because that's probably where the Bellas are going for WrestleMania. Now, seriously, this is a one-off.
God, I hope so.
Who? Okay, the way I see this happening is this: who hold the women's tag team titles?
Carmella and Zelina.
Huh?
Right. If you want the Bella Twins at Mania, you either turn them face, or if they're going to Mania as heels, a face team has to win this match. Has to take win the titles off of Carmella and Zelina.
Not necessarily. Not with the way that they've done that. The way that they've done things now, it doesn't even matter whether Carmella and Zelina are heel or face because they don't even show up together anymore. It doesn't matter. We just know that somebody has to be a team to challenge them. That's what I'm saying. They've gotten to a point where we don't even care about the booking. It's just get the titles off of them and make the titles make sense.
Well, that's what I'm saying though, but I'm saying for story-wise for the Mania match is what I mean. I'm saying,
at this point, the only storyline you need is we're the Bella Twins, we're back, and we want the tag team titles. That's the only story you need.
Yeah, but what would you rather? What gets more merch? Them as faces or heels?
It doesn't matter.
I'm gonna say, like in their case, because of the fact of the social media thing, I don't think it matters with them.
It doesn't matter. That's what I'm saying.
With us,
fans
it probably would.
Are getting too hung up on the heel face thing. That's the matter. That's the reality of it. We understand the heel face thing. When it comes to them selling for WrestleMania in Dallas, Texas at Cowboy Stadium, no one cares. Oh, the Bella Twins, I know them.
The reason I'm saying is you can take Liv Morgan out of any title picture and put her in a tag team. If you keep Sarah Logan in, you tag her with Sarah Logan.
That's exactly what you don't want.
Hold on.
That's where I was going with the other thing.
Yeah,
that's where I was going with the other thing.
Yeah, that's what
it's just like, all right, what are you planning on doing with the other ones? Like, if you can technically go with this idea of, okay, the Bellas are going to go out there, they're going to win the tag team titles at WrestleMania or whatever, that doesn't necessarily mean that they have to beat Liv Morgan and whoever Liv Morgan's partner is, be it Sarah Logan or anybody else that she can come up with.
I would say Bianca Belair because, again, to do the whole thing they did with Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, take those two out of the title picture, putting the tag team titles on them. If Bianca Belair and Liv Morgan go into WrestleMania as tag team champions, they are out. Bianca Belair is out of the title picture.
Yeah, but she don't need to be out of it. The only way that they would have her out of that title picture is if they are like honestly just gonna cool her down like for damn near most of next year.
This is the Fed we're talking about. They do the dumbest shit.
Yeah, but you're giving them a level of stupid now. Now you're giving them a new level of stupid.
Bro, they took the belt off of Bianca Belair in 6 seconds. They pretty much put Brock in that match for no reason. For what? To win the belt and then what?
Yeah, you are right.
We're gonna get to that.
Yeah, which we'll get to later. Which we'll get to later. That's why where I'm going, like by what they've done so far lately, it wouldn't surprise if they go that way. And you know for a fact they listen to what we have to say. So watch it like that's a great idea. Let's do that. Bianca
I'm gonna blame you if it happens. That's all I'm saying. I'm gonna blame you if it happens. I'm gonna blame you if it happens because you just had to say it out loud.
Oh, there's a story I have here I want to read, but I'll wait till we get to the Men's World Rumble. And actually, I'll go over it now because I'll just bring up words to the men in a little bit. But they're saying that the morale in the back is like down because of all the changes that was going on for the matches. There was reportedly, where is it? For the women, were frustrated. There mentioned makes the women's Royal Rumble match that led to people being frustrated throughout the day because there were so many moving parts to keep up with. It was described as confusing hodgepodge of things that some people needed to remember or get out of their brain if an idea was scrapped. It's like it was a clusterfuck for the Royal Rumble matches, apparently. And then it was all Vince. It was all Vince. Because it says he was deeply involved in every aspect of the event. Somebody said we were in a whirlwind, just as you had your role and spots down, everything started over, and now most of us were back to square one. It changed again and again and again. It wasn't an easy night even before we hit the ring. So, yeah. And
that sounds about right.
When we get to the men's, I'll go over what to say about the men's. All right. The next match was Becky Lynch and Piper Niven, because I don't want to call her dude job. That shit's the dumbest shit. This match, we all knew what was going to happen in this one. This was pretty much, it wasn't a squash match. It was just a palate cleanser. So,
yeah.
Well, they pretty much first off put him in a death spot because the crowd is coming down off of the Royal Rumble itself or the Women's Royal Rumble. You're coming down off of Ronda Rousey's return. You're dealing with the after effects of the fire, the fire on the WrestleMania sign. So half of the crowd, not even half, more than half of the crowd was distracted by that. So it's just like, the match itself suffered because of that. But Becky was out there working her ass off trying to get this match over.
Yeah, and she did make a reference to the sign. She's like, I'm like, she said something to the sign's on fire. I forgot what she said, but she made reference to it. I was like, damn. I was like,
oh, it's probably because something about straight fire.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly what she
said.
That's
one of her old catchphrases. And
yeah.
I don't want to sit up here and discredit Piper Niven for anything. It's just like Becky was out there waddling. That's why I'm just out here. I'm highlighting her because of that.
Yeah, and I just like the fact that she just on the fly she's doing this. She's saying that stuff like that because you really can't just cut that off so easily. So
yeah, that was a match that honestly we all knew exactly where that match was going, where it was going. You don't sit up here and have everything set up the way that it was, even with the room, like knowing that, they've been pushing for this this Bianca Becky match or whatever. You don't put the belt on Piper, right?
Right.
Like I said up there, and I had my thing before, and part of that was me going hard over head when it came to Liv. But if your ultimate goal is to have Bianca avenge the 26-second loss from SummerSlam, now Becky needs to hold on to that belt. It's the same thing with Roman.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much where I stand.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is that if that's what they're looking for, it's like, okay, fine, but I would have preferred to just not put her on this match and just put her in the Rumble. But if you put her in the Rumble, it's like, okay, she has to win this or get to the final. But they did it with Charlotte because
Piper?
No, Becky.
Oh no.
Because the thing is,
I don't think they would have gone through an entire pay-per-view without having at least one of the women's titles getting defended.
Yeah, and it's tough because both sides are in a bad spot. Because right now the only true contender that Becky has is Bianca, because they're in the process of building Liv, and it just knocked her down a peg. and now I feel like she's gonna go back to the mid card or mediocrity again. You know, and with Charlotte, it's like, okay, to me, the best option is Naomi, but they got her with Sonya. What are you gonna do? Now they added Ronda Rousey on there because apparently she's on SmackDown now because WWE on Fox made a tweet about welcoming her to SmackDown. So she'll be on SmackDown, and apparently she's gonna have a couple matches before Mania or including Mania. Can't remember.
Well, she kind of needs to.
Yeah,
she definitely kind of needs to. You can't just sit up here and have her, come from maternity and then turn around and go, straight into the Royal Rumble and then have no match before she goes into WrestleMania.
Yeah, no.
That's a recipe for disaster.
It is. I mean, we've seen it before with what's her name? Brie, when she was trying to do a suicide bomb. She caught the rope and she almost like really hurt herself.
Going back to the other thing, and I was a little disappointed that they did not do, was reference the situation between Brie and Liv that happened, because I'm sure like keen-eyed fans saw them past each other once or twice in the Rumble before that stupid spot where she got eliminated. But you had the opportunity to have Brie go for the yes kicks, and then the fans just be like, oh wait, didn't this happen before? And she ended up getting hurt.
Yeah.
And that was something that they kind of, it was a bit of a missed opportunity. I don't know if you really want to call back to a concussion, but you had the opportunity to do something.
Yeah, it's probably maybe something they had they scrapped, because like they were saying, like I was reading, there's a lot of stuff that they had planned for that they changed like on the fly. Like talent was like really getting annoyed because they could never nail something down. So once they got something like memorized, like, oh, forget that, we'll do something else. So and again, like they were saying, it's like it's a lot of spots to remember, So it's like, yeah, it's gonna be difficult. So I could see why the botches were there, because you have to do a lot of that stuff, and it's like it just, and the worst part is, if that's the case, you're pretty much putting the wrestlers at risk, But yeah, and then they're saying that they wanted Lana to come back. They reached out to Lana. She was somebody they reached out to.
I heard they reached out to a whole lot of people trying to get them to come back, and I completely agree with every single last one of them that said no.
Oh, so am I. The way they did things, I was like,
like I said, the only one that I'm sitting up here, happy completely took the thing and showed up was Mickie James, just because I wanted to hear hardcore country in the WWE.
I wanted to talk about that one. I like that one, but I just didn't like the way they did things with her. I was like, okay, like put her up a little more.
Oh, nah.
I was like, come on, she only got one elimination. That's it. I was like, yeah, she was there for like, I think
that
12
whole
minutes.
That whole thing was weird, but because if you look at it, how many eliminations did Bianca get?
Let's see. Bianca got one. Only one. She eliminated
and
Natty.
Bianca was in there from like number 8.
Yeah. She was in there for like 47 minutes.
Yeah, like the whole, the way they did that was just weird. So like, I don't know. That whole thing was just a cluster, and I have no idea what they were thinking when it came to constructing how this thing was supposed to go. But you know what? That's probably why I ain't getting paid to do it, because I probably would have smacked shit out of somebody over that.
It's stupid, bro. It is, because it's like, how is Bianca going to get one elimination? Then I'm looking at like who did the most eliminations. All right. Charlotte had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 eliminations. They all came towards the end. Then Rhea Ripley had 4. Natty had 2. Rhea had 2. Sasha had 2. Ronda had 1, 2, 3, 4. She had 4. So pretty much, that's what was annoying. It's like they made Charlotte like the powerhouse, eliminated them at 25, 26, 27, 28. Like the last 4, and she was the last one. I was like, come on, man. Like, are you serious?
Yeah.
It's just, and that's what I don't like. I'm like, okay, so if Charlotte had made some eliminations before when she came in, because she was like, what?
She was in the teens.
Charlotte was 17. So she could have got a couple eliminations here and there before the end. Nah, she don't get the last 5 eliminations where she gets eliminated. Come on, man. And that's why it's annoying. Like, that's what annoys sometimes. It's like she's getting the Roman Reigns treatment. She's getting shoved down our throats. And it'll be a matter of time before the fans are actually going to turn on her. You know? Some already have, but it's going to get worse. And she's sensitive to that. And so is her husband.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Let's see here. What else I want to see? Yeah, Lana. There's something on Lana here. Oh, they couldn't agree on a deal. That's why Lana didn't get to go. They couldn't agree. Yeah. So who knows what they were trying to do? I wonder what they were putting in those contracts, like for Lana.
They're gonna give them a future endeavors in the middle of the match.
No, because remember, she's like her 90 days is about to expire. You know, and the rumor is she might end up with her husband at AEW. So I wonder if they were trying to put something in there where like, oh, you cannot go to AEW, you know, whatever. Like who, I don't know. They might do something shady. I don't trust the Fed for anything. So if it didn't work out because they were trying to do some shady stuff with the contracts, I give her all the credit. You know, don't fall for it. As much as I know she wanted probably to return, see her friends and all that stuff. Don't do it. Don't sell your soul to the devil.
Yeah, unfortunately, you got a bunch of snakes in charge. So, you know. What's next up?
All right. Next up, we got. Well, we'll wait till Jay returns. We'll talk about the mixed match, Edge and Beth over the Miz and Maurice, which it had a couple of spots that I really liked. It had a couple spots that I liked. You know, the ending was to me it felt like it was a given,
Mm.
and I liked the Beth Phoenix. The little thing she did on the side for Luna Vachon.
Yeah.
I like that. It was good. Like, my question was, what's up with her hair, though?
Well, her hair's been like that for a couple of weeks now, so
yeah, but
I guess it's just like a warrior thing that she's doing. I'm not quite sure.
I felt like it was like a different stage every time like we saw her on TV. It'd be like getting higher. At first, like just down low, like a little mullet, and then every time you see it, higher.
Used.
And then it's like boom, full of like mohawk.
I need to know what kind of hairspray she used because that shit is strong as hell.
Probably Aquanet.
I don't know.
Probably Aquanet.
Probably.
I'm guessing she was just trying to get the full Phoenix motif going on.
Yeah, I like the spots that they did where she actually she got the Miz and she I forgot what she did on him. And then they both speared Beth and Edge speared Miz. They gave the Beth gave Maurice and Edge gave the Miz The Glamazon. What else?
You know what it was? But that match, it wasn't even that the match was bad. It felt like they left a lot on the table. Like there was so much more they could have done with this match. Like that's why I hate the new mixed tag team rules where like if one gender is tagged in, like you can only fight that gender. Like I remember the older rules were like if like say if Maurice would have tagged Miz in, then he would have to wrestle Beth. And I felt like that's what everybody was kind of waiting for. And it just never happened. I'm like, I get it, domestic violence, blah, blah, blah. But in this case, like, they're paid to wrestle. So, like, let them wrestle. And I think with the way Miz sells, it actually would have, they probably could have done some really good work.
Well, for what it's worth, Miz sold the absolute hell out of getting speared by the two of them. So,
oh, for sure. That double spear was nice. That double spear was nice.
Yeah. So going back to the match that was at before that one. Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley. Jay's like, I need to get out of this one. So this is the one I was like, as I was saying, this to me was close to being the second one because of the fact that I like the psychology where they did everything. You know, you have Bobby, he suplexed Brock, and Brock's sitting there like laughing. He's like, whoa, like damn. He's like, damn, you know. And then Brock comes back and gives him 2 suplexes. So I like the way they were going around with it. Then I like how they didn't let, like, they took the referee out. And then you have Roman comes in.
You know what's funny? I was sitting with my family and I'm sitting up here watching this match. I'm like, okay. I'm like, yo, it'd be really funny if Roman Reigns just comes in and interferes right now. Like, I swear to God, I had no idea that was going to happen. But I'm just watching the way the match goes. I'm like, this feels like a time where Roman's going to show up. This just feels like Roman's going to show up. And then when he showed up, I was like, ha, called it. The part that I didn't call was the Paul Heyman thing. And I'm like, Benny, you son of a bitch. Because like, as soon as I seen it, I was like, no, we called this shit like 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Like, yo, the Fed is really tapping these lines, bro.
I know, but it made sense though, because it's like
it does.
If you try to keep Brock as strong as you want to keep him, he can't just lose cleanly. It just doesn't make sense. That's why I was like, okay, Bobby's gonna win. I know it's not gonna be clean. So I was like, let me see how this goes down. Then I saw Roman, I was like, oh shit. I was like, all right, cool. He comes in. The referee's down. He's probably gonna grab a chair, smack the shit out of him, whatever. And next thing I know, he's looking at Paul Heyman, and Paul Heyman just looks at him. I was like, what the hell's going on here? Puts his hand out, he gets the belt. I was like, oh, and then he walks out with him too. I was like, yeah. I was like,
okay, that's a deep cut. I was like, okay. Roman's on some Splinter Cell type shit now. I'm like, okay, all right, cool. I dig it. I understand.
Yeah, and I wonder if, because this is what I'm saying. Because think about this: Roman looked different without Paul Heyman during his whole
He was vulnerable.
Yeah.
He was vulnerable.
So I think he figures like, yo, as much as I hate it, I need Paul Heyman back. So for all we know, we're gonna hear something on Friday. He's gonna tell like, oh, you know what? Like he'll probably say something. He's not gonna look vulnerable, like, you know, like whatever. But something's gonna come up where it's Paul Heyman's back. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, he's just gonna tell him like, me and Paul had this plan the whole time.
Probably, I don't know. But it's gonna be interesting to see how they go down. But I like the way this went through. The problem I have now is words coming out. They have no idea, no plans for this man at Mania. They don't know what they're gonna do.
Nope.
And the thing is, my complaint with this match makes so much more sense, because the complaint that I have is the way Lashley won makes him look completely weak.
Does it?
Because this dude, to me, because he sat up there and granted, a lot of the damage that he took was damage done by himself, but the mere fact that he sat up there and you had Roman take him out, take Lesnar out, had him hit the spear, had him turn around, hit him with the belt, and then he leaves. And then like 3.5 hours later, Lashley crawls over and he covers Lesnar and he gets the pin that way. You don't give him one last spear to put him down, which could have been the easiest thing in the world to do. My question with that is why? But then when your reports come out or, oh, we don't have anything planned for the WWE Championship, okay, now I know why. Because the guy that's holding it, the championship itself, and everybody on that show aren't important right now.
Nope.
That's why. Okay.
And that's the biggest thing about this. I actually didn't think he came off as weak. I felt more like a weird babyface turn. That's the crazy thing, is it felt weirdly babyface for him to win that way.
And
the fact that he was like dapping up the crowd, everybody's like, Bobby, and they're showing it, and he's like, oh yeah, like waving to the people, doing all this stuff. I'm like, the fuck? Did he just okay, all right. But my brain just goes back to like, you couldn't have just done this with Big E. Like, I get it. Everybody wanted to see the whole Brock Bobby Lashley match, and I understand that. But like, it was just this whole. If you didn't want Big E to be champion, just say that. Just say that.
Should have just kept it on Bobby. Just kept it on Bobby. I'll be honest.
Like, you shouldn't have had Big E win the Money in the Bank. Like, it makes the Money in the Bank thing look so stupid now. Like, I don't care about that match anymore, because literally you do a soft reboot for the summer. It's like watching a show that's only like seasonal. It's like, oh, the show only comes out in the summer, everything that happens. But then when we go back next summer, everything's going to be completely different. So it's like, I just hate it. I hate it. Go ahead.
Stick with me for a second, because this is one of the things that honestly was like really, really, really pissing me off as I was getting ready for this, because I was just going through it in my mind. There was absolutely no reason whatsoever to have this match for the championship.
Nope.
If you wanted to do Brock versus Lashley, you could have very easily have done it. There's a couple of ways you could have done this match. You know how you set up your SmackDown Women's Championship right now. You got, Ronda Rousey. She goes in there. Technically didn't have to win the Royal Rumble. All she had to do was eliminate Charlotte, kind of sort of the same way they did with Drew a couple of years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
So here's the thing. Day one, you have your Fatal 5-Way. You have Lashley and you have Lashley and you have Lesnar take each other out, right? So Lesnar is pissed off at Lashley because not only did Roman avoid him, by getting COVID and everything like that, now Lashley has cost him cost him the title because of the fact that, he just wouldn't stand aside and let him get what he deserved or whatever, because he's Brock fucking Lesnar and everything, right? So the two of them could just go at it. After that, Big E just takes out whoever, whether it be Kevin Owens or whether it be Seth Rollins. You could technically have one of them take out the other one and have Big E capitalize off of that or whatever. Or have the two of them, like Seth and KO, come to blows in some sort of way. Big E capitalize off it. He holds onto the title. So if you want to put Big E in the match and set up his WWE Championship match through the Royal Rumble, you can do that. Or Big E versus Owens at Royal Rumble. All right? Stick with me, because I'm still going. Rock and no, because this is what I'm talking about. This is one of the things that was like really annoying me, because when you sat up there and said, let's do the review, I was just like, you know what? Now my head's starting to go. Big E beats Owens. All right? Kevin Owens ain't doing nothing in the Royal Rumble because the Kofi botch anyway. You have the situation right there. Lesnar, again, does not need to win the Royal Rumble. All right. He doesn't need to win it. You have an ironclad match right there between him and Roman Reigns. And here's the way to do it. Roman interfered in his match with Lashley because of the WWE Championship. Roman could interfere with him in that match without the championship. Easy. So guess what? He's Brock freaking Lesnar. He can just sit in the back and everybody be like, oh, wait, look, there's Brock. You want a title shot? He don't need to win the Royal Rumble. Guess what they can do with the Royal Rumble? Now Seth Rollins can win it. As great as that Seth Rollins story was with Roman, was it needed? Not right this second, it wasn't. He's in the middle of a beef with Brock. And you knew at that point, they were building to Brock versus Roman, some way, somehow. So you knew that the Seth Roman thing was nothing but a placeholder. Whether he walked out with the championship and Roman went after the WWE title afterwards, or whether it ended up the exact same way that it is right now. So they sat up there and they tripped and fell over themselves 57 times to get exactly the same spot you could have done with little effort and without burying your WWE champion twice. I'm done.
It made no sense at all because you could have just kept the belt on Big E and you could have had it where Big E pinned Kevin Owens to retain. You know what I mean? And then Bobby comes like, you still didn't beat me. I want my rematch. I want just me and you a rematch, and boom, you have it at the Rumble. And that's when Bobby just beats him. You know? It's a simple task. And you can still have them feuding till Mania. Because after this is the Elimination Chamber. And I don't think there's another pay-per-view after that. So you can still have them feuding till Mania. It's gonna suck because that's all they're gonna do for the first half of the year. But now what are you gonna do? Because now the rumors are saying that swirling that Big E's going back into oblivion, which has already started because he moved to SmackDown, and he's with Kofi for New Day because Woods is still hurt. It's a damn shame that man didn't get a better run with that title than what he got. Big E deserved the better run. I'm not saying that Bobby doesn't. I'm just saying Big E got screwed of having an actual good run with the title, just like Kofi did. Mm-hmm. The only good match Kofi had that was worth it was that whole thing with Randy, because they took it back to like the botch that he had, and Randy called him stupid, and that was the beginning of his downfall of going from being shot up to getting put into like mid-card oblivion. Mm-hmm. And now we're back to the same square thing with Big E now. And for what? Just put the belt on Brock for 1 month, not even, for 27 days? Like, what the hell? Now we're playing hot potato with the belt? They don't know what they're doing. It's like we said, they putting themselves in difficult situations because they want the pop. Sometimes the right decision doesn't give you the pop that you want, but it progresses the storyline or it puts you in a better situation than you would have been if you did things for the pop. Not just story-wise and for the fans, but for the characters and the talent. Taking point, Bianca Belair. You have that woman lose the belt in 26 seconds. What does that cause? Why? Because you're trying to get a pop to get Becky Lynch coming back and winning. Why? Because CM Punk came on TV the night before at AEW. So now you're pissed. So now you're trying to get your ratings up. So you do all this shit for that. And for what? You just messed up everything. Everything. And they're still doing it. They don't realize what they're doing, but they don't care. They just don't. They're getting all this money from the Disney deal, from the Peacock deal, which apparently Peacock is losing money. And now there's little concerns here and there. Their revenue is going down. So
a lot of people unsubscribed. That much
Yeah, the revenue last year was 2 years ago was like 1 point something billion. Last year, it didn't even it barely got to 900 million.
Well, again, I'm finding other things on Peacock like, so that's a good thing.
Would
So
you find what?
I find other shows and stuff on Peacock that I like. So that's a good thing. But in terms of WWE content, I'm like, I don't watch it the same way I used to do it with like the network and stuff. I just don't. I only use it for reviews and that's it. And I barely use it.
Like I'll once in a while, I'm like, maybe I'll watch like the Rumbles, the past ones, and that's it. But then it's like that's it. I won't watch it. Maybe I'll watch 1 or 2 and I'll let it go. I'll go watch the whatever else is on the Peacock streaming service. But even then, I barely even use the Peacock streaming service. I'm more on Paramount Plus, HBO Max, Netflix, and what was the other one I have? I can't remember. So many of them. But Peacock, I did. Oh, pay-per-view, or sorry, premium event. All right, gotcha.
That's also that rebranding. They need to stop.
It's stupid.
It's
dumb. It's dumb. It makes no sense. For what reason? But getting back to this, so now this opens up Brock to fight Roman with the whole Paul Heyman storyline. So let's get ready for that one. But unfortunately, Bobby, they don't know what they're gonna do with him for now. So on to the main event.
This is what happens, honestly, when you sit up there and you book for shareholders and for companies and not for fans.
Oh yeah,
because most stuff doesn't make wrestling sense.
No, which we will get to right now. The men's Royal Rumble.
This might be top 5 worst I've ever seen.
It was. It was. They had nobody. There was nothing. Like, who are you gonna do? And for what I was reading early in the stories for this one, there were reportedly 20 changes made over the course of the week for the men's Royal Rumble match. There were spots that were changed and discarded. There were also changes made to eliminations, order of entrances, and there were changes made to how some of the talent interacted at different points during the match. The one that we know that we find out later on was because Kofi didn't land his spot and his feet touched the floor. It messed up what they had for Big E and him later on down the road, because he wasn't supposed to get eliminated so early, and that sucks because like it's just a mishap, and unfortunately they got it on tape. Like they couldn't say anything. I think, and because he was with the fans would call it out. Like you can't do nothing about it, So that sucks. It's like, I don't know what to say because it's you need to keep with the rules, but again, it's like. That's what annoyed me in the women's because there wasn't that high, that Kofi type, moment.
Again, that's what happens when you don't add Casey Catanzaro and you don't have anybody else that can do it.
Naomi they tried. They played it with the Naomi thing and they screwed it over with Sonya Deville.
Yeah, but they should have had Naomi do one first and then get in trouble again and say, okay, she did it once, she can do it again, and that's what Sonya comes in like, no. Bam, gets it. Like you took that away. That's part of the reason why people watch the Rumble. It's like, okay, Naomi's gonna be in this. Let's see how she saves herself. It's the men's. Kofi's gonna be in this. How's he gonna save himself? And the thing is, you can do the same thing with Ricochet. He's athletic enough; he can do it too.
Ricochet wasn't even in the Rumble, bro. Yeah, yes, he was. He had the hot.
Yeah, because he bounced off of he bounced off of almost.
He kick flipped off of Corbin.
Oh, was it Corbin?
Yeah, it was Corbin.
Yeah, the funniest thing, when Omos came in and Montez Ford was he got to the top rope. I swear, Omos gave him a look, and I was like, I felt like I was reading his mind. He was like, "Negro, please."
He was like, "Really, really?" And Montez is like, this don't feel like a fuck it, let's fuck it.
I was like, yo, I think I can read your mind.
Can we talk about all the choke slam spots now? I'm like, was this supposed to be like, don't worry, guys. We have big guys that can still do choke slams. Like, just because Kane and Undertaker aren't in the Rumble, we have guys that can do choke slams. Because it's like, it was like 7, 8 people that got choke slammed. And I'm like, some of these choke slams actually look good, too. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
To be completely honest with you, and I don't want to go off on too much of a tangent on this one because I've wasted my tangent for this one. I'm highly surprised that Kane did not show up in this Rumble. Legitimately, just to shout out Adam Blampier to have a moment with Johnny Knoxville.
There's a thing there that I don't understand.
Mayor of Knox County.
Knoxville. Got it. Okay. Yeah, no, I got it now. Well, apparently Johnny Knoxville has a brain injury that he suffered in the filming of Jackass Forever, which is why that's the last movie.
Yeah.
So that's probably
I was hearing about that.
Yeah, that's why he didn't do anything too crazy. But here's my thing. Of all the people, like, you had 2 very viable high spot guys sitting there and you didn't use them. You had Pat McAfee, who we know can do stupid high spot. And you had Corey Graves, who was clear to wrestle. And you don't use those? Just feels like a waste. Just saying. It just feels like a waste.
It does. Shout out to Bad Bunny. My man came in.
Oh, yeah, nah. He came in. This took an F5. I'm like, yo.
Yo, the funniest thing, he's there with Brock. He's like, he's trying to do the Brock bounce. Brock was like, bam. I was like, damn.
And got 2 eliminations out of it. I'm like,
yeah, he did.
Okay. Even though I wanted him to eat a super kick one good time. Just one good time. Nah, but can we talk about Ricochet selling that chop?
Oh, yeah.
I thought he actually Kofi'd. Like, I thought he Kofi Ricochet when I heard that.
I was like, Rico, you all right?
Bro? I was like, yo, like, somebody needs to check on that man. Like, I think his heart stopped. Somebody needs to check.
He felt flat. Like, I was like, yo.
Like, he got hit and then just froze and went down. I was like, oh, wait, no, he might be hurt. He might be for real hurt. Like, y'all got to stop.
Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty good. I like that. Rico could sell, man. That's why I was just like, yo, why does this man keep getting held down, man?
Because he's short and his mic skills are suspect.
Because he doesn't fit that mold, man. It's just annoying.
He's short and his mic skills are suspect.
Yeah.
Like, if he was somebody with a thick accent, you can do the whole Eddie Guerrero thing with him.
Yeah, apparently Shane has some heat on him too.
I'm not surprised. Listen, when you go into the ring and you're supposed to be fake punching people, you're not supposed to be out here trying to jab people in the throat. He caught like 3 different people in the throat out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure people got a couple of receipts going for that man.
Yeah.
Like, he needs to stop.
And apparently they have plans for him for Mania. What? Why?
With whom? With whom? Whom? Whomst? 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 Because again, no, the reason why Shane comes back every year is literally he's the new Undertaker. It's like, if you're doing well and you want to have a sign that you're doing well, then you're going to have a match with Shane McMahon, because we're not going to give you a title match. No, we're not going to put a title on you, because titles don't make superstars. Superstars make titles. But a match with Shane McMahon, that means that you're on the right track and the company really likes you.
Unless you're Braun.
There's that.
Oh. Okay. So here's a funny, interesting thing. Apparently Shane booked the Men's Royal Rumble. He was in charge of it. And he was getting heat because he was trying to book it around him, about himself.
This man came back and was just like, nope, I'm the best in the world. We're not doing this. Probably would have won it too if Brock wouldn't show up.
No comment. Just next question. I have a migraine. It's like if you give a child
a box with bubble wrap to play with, and they still find the sharpest knife and try to stab themselves in the groin. And the knife is like on a table that they have to climb to get to. So it's like you're doing everything possible to keep them safe, and they still go for the knife.
Yeah.
Like this can't be real life. Like this just can't be real life. Like
Yeah. So I don't know. It was weird. Apparently he got to it with Jimmy Noble too.
Oh, I hope Jamie Noble slapped the shit out of him backstage. That's all I'm saying.
This makes no sense, man. I mean, and this is why I kind of figured they're gonna go. That's why I said Bobby's gonna lose, Rock's gonna go in, he's gonna win the Rumble. That's how they're gonna write off. I said how they're gonna script Brock and Roman at Mania. I just didn't figure out that I didn't figure that they were gonna do the whole Paul Heyman angle like at Rumble though. So I mean, this is just a cluster, man.
There's just so much. There's so much. There's just so much.
And AJ got the most eliminations.
I still don't understand why he was number one.
5.
I don't.
He was in there for half an hour.
I don't understand why he was number one and didn't last longer.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't.
Again, there's a whole lot we don't
remember
understand
when
about
they used to use the Royal Rumble to make stars? Like, remember when they used to have like that one unlikely star where it's like they're not pushing him yet, but they're showing you that, listen, we really like this guy. We hear what you're saying. We really like this guy. And he only gets eliminated by like the next person he's gonna feud with or by like a legitimate star. That's what I feel like they could have done with Montez Ford here. Because in a Rumble lacking star power, lacking real star power, you could have made him a star. Where people started to believe that, yo, maybe Montez Ford could win this. Because again, at the end of the day, it didn't matter because you knew Brock Lesnar was going to come in at 30 and win, right? So why is it that in the process of all, if we all know how this is going to end and we're just enjoying the journey here, why is it that they can't just be like, hey, we know we released all of our future, right? And the future that we give to you now is hot dog shit, right? And we know we fucked up, right? We can talk about the NXT ratings, by the continuing decline. We know we fucked up. But wait, there's a guy here that, like, if you stick with us, he can be the next guy. We know you like him because you buy all his merch. He's a big merch seller. You like his wife because, like, you got behind her at last year's WrestleMania. So, like, but I know he's in the tag team right now. Like, I get it. But here's what he can really do. And you book him to show things that he hasn't shown yet. Like a power clothesline or a power game. Or, like he eliminates AJ. He gets rid of Madcap Moss and stuff. He eliminates Drew McIntyre.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like, holy shit, Montez Ford could actually win. Then you have Brock come in and squash everybody. Why? Because now you have him at a point where it's like, holy shit, he really almost won this. And now you start to pay attention to him. You give Brock the heat that we know you want for Brock anyway. But in the process, it's like, maybe you don't push him this year. Maybe you don't push him next year. But like, you had him in the Royal Rumble. Okay, are you going to do another King of the Ring this year? Don't know. But you need a new Intercontinental Champion in the worst way. Like, in the absolute worst way, you need a new Intercontinental Champion. So there's an idea, right? There's a whole Survivor Series thing where, like, you don't even have 5 top stars, so don't sit up here and tell me that you can make Survivor Series teams because it's just not going to happen. But you could definitely put him on a Survivor Series team and start to build him slowly, kind of what they did with Kurt Angle. And eventually, you do the whole breakup with him and I'm sorry, Liv's boobs are really distracting me right now.
Oh wait, wrong way. There we go.
You do it where like you turn, because I keep saying, and no one wants to believe me with this. I'm like, listen, the best way for you to catapult Montez forward is to follow the blueprint you did with The Rock. Because in terms of like turn him heel, turn up his style to like 11.
Which we know he can be.
Which we know he can be. Like we already see what his swag looks like. Just be like, yo, be you, but be an asshole.
Yeah.
And that will literally get him over as a heel.
And please have the feud between him and D'Angelo go somewhere. Yeah. Don't have it be like heavy machinery where, okay.
Yeah.
What's
but that's the thing. The problem with that,
Otis, boom, that was it.
If you're gonna do it, extend it for a little bit, because the reason why I think they keep them for so long is because they like Angelo Dawkins, but do they really believe in him to be a single superstar? I don't think so. And I think he would be a real solid mid-carder if you can find a gimmick for him.
Yeah. But and he'll be a solid mid-carder, and that's fine until he works his way up to be top. He could be top. He just needs to work on little things.
I don't see him as a guy. I'm sorry. I don't see him as a main guy.
Okay, so he can be, but he can't be the main guy. He can't be your Roman Reigns. He can't be your Drew McIntyre. He can be kind of like a Biggie, comes in, does a little run, and it goes back down. You know what I mean? But he can't be like a Bob. He can't stay up there for too long.
I think he's closer to a Kevin Owens, honestly. Where like if you like you can, if he's at the top of your mid card, you're in good shape. But if you need him to come in and feud with another one of your top guys, I think he can definitely do it.
Yeah.
But they have to, unfortunately, with the gimmicks that the way they have them, we have like this whole like we're the Street Profits kind of situation. It's so campy that it's almost childish. So you kind of have to mature both of their gimmicks in a lot of ways and turn Montez Ford all the way to 11. Mm-hmm. Because his name in itself sounds marquee. I'm just saying, like, name Montez Ford sounds like a main eventer.
Yeah, it does. It does.
And then you literally just make him the money man. Like you go balls deep in what you did with The Rock when he left the Nation of Domination.
Yeah.
And then we just have to, kind of find them a skill set. But again, you could have started that here. You could have even had it where like him and Angelo Dawkins are just eliminating people. Oh my God, both guys are amazing. And then Montez just kind of turns on him a little bit and eliminates him. Was like, listen, what can we do? And you start to sow the seeds. Not saying you got to do it. You got to do it like, not saying you got to break them up for like another 2 years, but you start to sow the seeds. Mm-hmm. And you long book it that way. But no, what did they do? There's literally from like 6 to like 21, there was just like a lull of like real regular ass 24/7 title talent. And I'm like, this is when you're supposed to make people. Like, this is who you're supposed to be building. Mm-hmm. The biggest pop came from Boones and Madcap Moss, who literally are just power guys. And it's like, yeah, no, they're strong, but there's nothing here. Boones maybe because he looks like freaking Freddie Mercury.
Yeah, but they cut his hair, bro.
That's why he looked like Freddie Mercury. Now he looks like Freddie Mercury. Oh, no lie.
No, he does. I was like, what the hell? But yeah, and this is
but then like the fact that like his one taunt was like, I'm like, oh God, he's doing the whole muscle man flex thing. Like that's so stupid.
Yeah. I just don't know. They put themselves in a bad spot. This was horrible. I don't even know where they're gonna. I don't know where they're going after with all these people now because it was just like they're like scrambling for talent. But so this was a bad Royal Rumble. Like in general, this premium event / pay-per-view was just horrible. Like the matches couldn't save it alone. The Rumbles were like that bad. So we're gonna have final thoughts now. Jay, final thoughts on the premium event or pay-per-view?
We're in for a long year because there's just this is a wasteland. This feels like the aftermath of an atomic bomb. It's just bad. It's just bad. That's all I gotta say. It's just bad. But Roman and Seth, phenomenal match. Everybody else, meh. Just meh.
Benny, final thoughts?
Last report I heard was Ronda Rousey was signed for an entire year. So let's get ready for a repeat of 2018 where she wins the championship at WrestleMania and she will probably hold it until the following WrestleMania. So yeah, just get ready for another Roman Reigns-esque run on SmackDown with the SmackDown Women's title now. But other than that, I gotta go to sleep. So I really ain't got nothing.
Yeah, this one, it's annoying because don't know if this guy's gonna be on WrestleMania because they don't know what to do with him. The Brock Lesnar Roman Reigns was kind of obvious. The Rousey was a shock that she appeared. Now that she's here, it's like, okay, she's gonna win. So I agree with Jay, be in for a ride because they don't know what they're doing right now. So don't be shocked at what happens. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Till the next one. Later.